Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. For today's preview, it is Lions versus the Stormers this weekend, the first home game for the Johannesburg side. They return to Emirates Airline Park and they welcome the Stormers. Both these sides have not won a game in the Rainbow Cup just yet. They've both gone down against the Bulls and the Sharks. So an opportunity for one of these sides at least to try and get a win under the belt and get some points on the board. And some big calls in the team selections for the Lions. 2 Springboks on the bench for them, whilst the Stormers lose a Springbok from their starting 15. Before we look at those teams and what we can expect from the match itself, please do smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well if you're new. Right now I'm going to give you a couple of seconds, smash that like button and hit the subscribe button. Turn on your notifications as well so you're always up to date. For example, we've just done a video on the new Castle Lager Lions Tour 21 series, which is going to see a Emirates Lions versus British Knights Lions game instead of the SA Invitational game. We are also reducing the venues. What was going to be at 5 provinces across, I think, about 7 different stadiums is now only going to be 2 provinces across 4 different stadiums. So check out the video as well for the new schedule, as well as what's going to happen with tickets and stuff like that to the games, to the Lions series. But in terms of this weekend, it is all about Rainbow Cup. And for the Lions, this is how they line up. 3 changes to the starting lineup. The first one comes in the front row. Jacob Asaki back from injury, and that's a big boost for the Lions. I think, PJ Botha has been all right, but we're finally starting to see the Lions, within the injuries and within what they've currently got in the union, getting back to the strongest sort of side they can put out. Obviously, still missing a couple of players. Tian Swanepoel, Gianni Lombard, lots of injuries in the Lions camp, and obviously no Alton Yankees at the moment. But given all that, it is nice to see a couple of players coming back from injury. So Jacob Asaki starts next to Steve Satole and Carl Usadi. A big weekend for them up against an all-Springbok front row, the best front row in the country. And I thought they struggled a little bit last weekend against the Sharks. So something in the area that they want to try and improve in. And they'll need some help from Ruben Skuman and Renat North-Nagel. I thought Ruben Skuman was very good last weekend. Did a lot for the Lions. Was jumping in the lineup, was carrying, was good in the tackling as well. Renat North-Nagel has been tipped as a future captain for the Lions. So a nice opportunity for him to try and stake a claim. Because there's a big name, Willem Alberts, there on the bench who is looking to come back into that starting lineup. So these 2 players playing for their spot in that starting lineup. The loose trio is unchanged. NJ Palsa, Vincent Tutuka, Frankie Horn, a very exciting loose trio. One that even the Stormers coaching staff alluded to is an area that they need to watch. Very good at the breakdown are the Lions. That is kind of an area where they've managed to sort of keep themselves in the game, winning a couple of penalties at the breakdown, keeping themselves there, slowing down, go forward balls, try and let their defensive line set up. Very big call made in the halfback combination as Jordan Hendrickson starts for the first time for the Lions. 19 years old, the fly half. He partners Andre Warner. He came off the bench at Hendrickson last weekend and kicked a nice conversion. Brother of Jaden Hendrickson from the Sharks. A very exciting young player. And for me, much more the mold of a Lions fly half. Much more Gianni Lombard, Alton Yankees. Very exciting player. Likes to take the ball to the line. Likes to try and get things going a little bit. Hopefully for me, a bit of a stronger kicking for touch, because I think that's somewhere where Fred Zandlinger's really struggled. And it is a problem, when you get a penalty within your 22 and there's an opportunity to clear your lines, and Fred Zandlinger only manages to find sort of 10 meters, you're still in your own half. You haven't really relieved much pressure. Whereas if you've got someone who can get you from your 22 meters up to their 10 meters, for example, get into their half, that makes a big difference. And that's an area where they really are missing Alton Yankees, who's a fantastic touch finder. In the back line, Burger Oendal comes in for Dan Creel, takes his place in the number 12 jersey, as well as captain Courtnall Kassan and Rabs Makwana are the 2 wings. And one to see a similarity. He's had quite a quiet Super Rugby unlocked. And I think just because he's been starved of possession, when he's got the ball, he's so exciting. And the Lions, I keep saying it every single week, I keep saying it, they've got to get him on the ball more. And that's why I think Jordan Hendrickson, between Burger Oendal, who's a little bit better at distribution, Dan Creel's very much a crash ball. Burger Oendal's probably got a little bit more to his game. Might not be as big and as physical as Dan Creel, who's really big player. Does have a little bit of a better skill set in my opinion. And then EW Fullion is at full back. Off the bench, PJ Botha, Ruan Dre, who is obviously Springbok capped, and the young prop Asanati and Klabakanya is very talented. Willem Alberts as well is back from injury. Emmanuel Tutuka, another exciting player. And then Morne van den Berg, who I would have probably liked to have seen start, in fact, because I thought Andre Warner was particularly poor last weekend. Fred Zandlinger and Dan Creel is the rest of the bench. For the Stormers, a couple of changes, injury enforced. Gonda Masimla is injured, as is Marvin Uri. And the big news there is P. Steph Totoy is being rested for this weekend. He is not injured, he is just being rested. So, as a result, the front row remains unchanged. Steven Kitshoff, Bongi Manambi, Frans Malherbe should have the upper hand in the scrum times. They will need to try and fix that line out. An issue with Bongi Manambi last weekend, and the line was uncharacteristically very poor. So Ernst van Rijn and David Meerhuizen will be the two locks. So they'll be in charge of trying to ensure that that line-out functions as best it can. And then in the loose trio, Willie Engelbrecht comes in on the flank in place of Piet de Toy. He's with Marcel Tennyson and Evan Roos. Herschel Yankees returned from injury. He replaces the injured Godlin Masimbla. Amna van Rijn continues to be back despite a very half-and-half performance last weekend. I thought he struggled at times. At other times, he was very good. Had some moments that were very positive, but he also had some very poor moments. And it's quite difficult when you are the fly half and you are the sort of focal point of the team. If you have an off day, it can really impact your team quite heavily. Edwin van der Merwe comes back into the side. Him and Turtle Pearson are the two wings. Rix Pretorius and Dan du Plessis continue at centre. Damien Willemse at full back. This backline's got a lot to prove for me this weekend. Because if you look at last weekend, the Stormers had all the possession against the Bulls, all the territory, but they could not get past that Bulls defense. They didn't have any X factor. They didn't have that one player that could try and create something out of nothing. You think of somebody like Cornel Hendricks, who always gets past the game line. You think of somebody like Apele Fassi, Spoon Corsi, Lakanya players who can, penetrate defenses. Want to see a Similani who can create half gaps, put players into gaps, and try and get over the advantage line and score points. The Stormers did not manage to do that consistently enough last weekend, which is why they ended up winning a match that stats-wise they dominated. On the bench, though, some very good players. Skara Ntebeni, Ali van Mark, Netlin Verscheer is the front row. Ben Jason Dixon comes in on the bench, as does Johan de Toy, so one de Toy swaps out for another. And then Johan Augustus comes in. He has, in fact, been granted an early release from his contract, and he will be heading off to the Premiership in the coming months for next season. But he will obviously still be available for the Stormers for the time being. So he's on the bench as well. So they've gone with a 6-2 split. Paul de Vet and Tim Sweel. Tim Sweel were back from injury. It's a nice experience there. And John Dobson was very sort of clear the fact that Tim Sweel still can play quite a big role as an attacking fly half and not just a very sort of, tactical kicker, which he said was part of the game plan last season, but is not necessarily Tim Sweel's natural game. He has got the ability to try and take the ball to the game line and to try and spark something. So interesting to see how those players come off the bench. In theory, you look at the sides and you think the Stormers do have the strongest side. The Lions do have home ground advantage. They have been very good at Ellis Park. They've got a knack of putting things off at Ellis Park. The Lions have also punished the Stormers quite a lot when they've played against each other in Super Rugby a lot in the Curry Cup. So they have had the upper hand. However, I think with the injuries, it's quite a depleted Lions side. So you'll think the Stormers should dominate the set pieces, their lineouts, and their scrums should be giving them quite a nice platform for that backline to attack the Lions. But I do think the Lions, the breakdown will be an aspect that they'll try and focus on, as well as that loose trio. I think the Lions loose trio, they're very good ball carriers as well as on the defense. So I think if you can get that loose trio firing, and you've got to get that ball to Wandisile Similani, you've got Courtnall Kassan, Raz McClana, who are two very good finishers. Get them out wide, get them space, get them in between defenders, let them have a go at the Stormers. It should be quite an interesting game. Very interested to see the tactics that each team deploys. Obviously, the Lions also now preparing for a British and Irish Lions game as well. So a little bit of added preparations for them there as well. Thank you very much for watching. Please do smash like on the video. I'm going to go Lions by 5. I'm going to go back to my boys. Let me know what your score predictions are down in the comments below. My name is Steven, and I'll chat to you soon.